everybody, and welcome back to Blue Jays Today. We're your boys. We always got something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog. And in this one, folks, we're going to be talking about a big problem that is developing right now for this 2025 Toronto Blue Jays team. Where is the home run ball, and why is it the other team that keeps hitting them on us? We are going to break down why that is currently hurting this team in the win-loss category. Kind of obvious, but there is some statistics here that are relatively scary, and ultimately if it is going to change as the season goes on. Before we get into it, please make sure to hit that like, smash the subscribe button, and let us know your thoughts about all this in the comments down below. Anthony Santander, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I know he's not the same, but, you know, kind of the resurgence of George Springer. You would think that this could be, and, you know, being in Rogers Stadium, right, you'd think that this would be a home run hitting ball team, and right now that has just not been the case.
Well, I mean, I'll actually kind of push back a set. I mean, look at these guys. Like, that's all the guys we have. You know, all we have is Santander. All we have is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette's not really a home run hitter, really. You know, 20 to maybe 25 homers you're expecting from him. George Springer, he hasn't hit over 20 in a couple of seasons. So really the only big guns are Vladdy and Santander that could eclipse 30. And right now, both of them off to a very cold start. But just kind of flashing to the generic numbers right here, folks. The Blue Jays aren't hitting home runs. We know this, but they're also, like you alluded to right here, Nick, they're giving up a lot of home runs right now. I mean, this is just not a good category to be in. You've given up the second most home runs in the MLB as the Toronto Blue Jays, 31 this season, and you've hit the second fewest. Now, when we were on that hot streak earlier last week, you know, we were winning a lot of ball games. Actually, 2 weeks ago, we were starting to really climb in the standings. The pitchers were absolutely immaculate. Not giving up the home run ball, you know, limiting base runners, being phenomenal. We were top 4, top 3 in ERA. But as soon as you start seeing the home run ball coming into play, and we're not hitting the home run ball, we're playing two different games here, folks. We're literally playing two different games. The Blue Jays can't compete with a team if our pitchers are giving up home runs. We can't compete.
So I was just looking back right now on that series with the Mariners, because, like, it's the Mariners offense, right? You want to talk about a team that, like, shouldn't be hitting bombs, right? I mean, the Seattle Mariners, like, they are not a good hitting ball team in any capacity. They should not be. They got 6 home runs against us in that series. That was obviously, you know, more than the Toronto Blue Jays got on the weekend. So
well, that's the thing. They're 5th right now in home runs, like the Seattle Mariners. This is their, like, stats right here. So, like, they don't hit for a good average, but their game is the home run game. And unfortunately, the home run game, if you out-hit the other team, you usually will win more times than not.
That's fair, man. That is fair. So ultimately, what is the problem here, and is this going to be solved?
Yeah, well, the problem is, like, your big boys aren't hitting any home runs. And you brought up Anthony Santander. Right now, his expected slugging is down there in the 18th percentile. Now, you expect that to go up. And you've seen that his bat speed has started off really slow to begin the season. It has been climbing. This 49th percentile was a much lower number, lower in terms of the, you know, percentiles on Baseball Savant, more in the blue category on the left, but it has been climbing. You're hoping that if he starts getting more A swings off, he is going to start launching some home runs. Now, just talking about Santander, are you feeling the same way?
What, that he's going to bounce back?
He is eventually going to bounce back.
Look, he's certainly not going to be a 569 OPS guy or whatever that is, right? I mean, he's batting below 200 right now, and that's ultimately, like, that's just not going to happen. Now, I could believe that maybe he's not going to have the 44 home run season that he had last year. Maybe it is going to regress back to more of the 2023 numbers where it was only 28 bombs. But honestly, 28 bombs at this point for the Toronto Blue Jays, I mean, fuck, like, you know, I will take that at this current moment.
And that's, unfortunately, that's, like, still a major problem because, again, when you think about all the big boys that are, like, you want to hit home runs on this squad, it's like Santander's got to be carrying a lot of the workload, and if he doesn't, well, then, you know, you're not hitting as many home runs. So, it's just that simple,
but okay, here's the big question, right? Here, and I know that people are going to comment it down below, and I think that there's some validity to this. Is this just a major overreaction in the sense that it is just April 22nd right now, and, you know, maybe there's going to be a month, maybe it's May, maybe it's June, maybe when the weather heats up, that everybody just starts hitting bombs? Like, is it just possible that right now we're just all getting kind of unlucky.
Yeah, like I think for the big boys, there is going to be a stretch where it's like, oh shit, here's Vlad in the month of, let's say, June. He just hit 8 homers, 9 homers. Oh my God, there's Vlad, right? And maybe it happens along with Anthony Santander. And in that month of June, holy shit, we're going to win a lot of ball games because, I mean, let's be honest, our team, the core fundamentals of our team right now is getting on base and getting hits. We're top 10 in those categories right now, right? So when you add the home run ball, we're going to be absolutely unreal. But it's like, other than that, like, is there anybody else that can support these guys up and down this lineup? Because after those guys, it's like Jimenez ain't a home run hitter. I know he's leading the team right now. Crazy that he still leads the team and he hasn't hit a home run in April.
Yes.
And then you got Kirk, and then you've got Alan Roden and Wagner. Like, these aren't home run
ultimately
guys, you know?
the players that we can rely on to hopefully get there is Guerrero and Santander. And again, if Springer is playing well, then you would anticipate him to run into a couple. Bo Bichette, I think you already brought it up, like 25 home runs is kind of the ceiling for that dude. And the fact that he's at 0 right now makes me believe that we will not be hitting the ceiling this year in terms of home runs. Maybe I'm wrong. You never know. Maybe a hot month in there and things go right. I mean, the Baseball Savant page certainly looks good. But yeah, I don't know if any major reinforcements are going to come in terms of like the home run ball. Like, I don't expect us to get into the top 10 or anything like that. I do think that it's going to get better. Like, I can't believe that we're still 29th in baseball and have 12 home runs to our name at this point. Like, it is going to get better. Yeah. And I do think that there's going to be a month in there, fingers crossed it's May, where they do start popping off. And oh shit, like Vladdy's got 8 this month and Santander's got 11 or something, you know, because that's what they did last year. But until that month comes, you are going to have to kind of weather this storm where, you know, the power's just not there. And if you're not stringing the hits against their top pitchers, it's going to be very, very difficult to win. Yeah, I know. And I mean, we've been lucky enough to get hits off the top pitchers, but haven't been so lucky to get a lot of the extra base and slug. But I think what I think I'm trying to like get to here is, you know, even if they get that great month from those guys, I think overall as a unit, as a team and lineup, like, they're still not going to be a top 15 or a top 10 in home runs this season. Most likely. Like, that to their absolute ceiling. I think their ceiling, they could be a top 15, but, you know, up and down the lineup, you don't have guys that you can't bank on, like, let's say a Roden or a Wagner or a Kirk to get you 20. And a lot of these elite teams, they do have guys down there that do pop 20. You know, and back when the Blue Jays were super elite, you had the Gurriels and the Grichiks and the Teoscar Hernandez in the 5, 6, 7 spot popping 20. Like, we're not that team. So for the Blue Jays, in order to be good this season, yeah, like, you do have to hit your ceiling on home runs, but you also need, this puts even more pressure on that starting pitching staff, you need them to be immaculate. And that's a lot of pressure. And that's why I think this season, you could have a lowest of floors of last season and the highest of floors of 90 wins. Because if you do get that immaculate pitching, I think if we're playing our game, small ball, hits, getting on base, we have a chance to win. Well, look. Whoa, time for a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Hit your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. Scan the QR code down below to join the action. Only available in Ontario. Must be 19 years of older to participate. Please play responsibly. Now, everyone, back to the content. Every team's got to rely on something, and, you know, it's clear that the backbone of the Toronto Blue Jays is the pitching. Now, looking at the pitching ERA, I think that we're, like, kind of middle of the pack right now. Yeah. It has been inflated recently. The one thing that I will say is I do certainly appreciate that the whip is pretty good, 5th in whip, which goes to show that a lot of the damage is coming from the home run ball, which ultimately, like, if you tell me, okay, you know what, you're going to give up a couple solo homers here and there, I mean, like, all right, I take that. That is what it is. It's just difficult when, you know, your offense is only putting up 2 or 3 in a game, and then, you know, well, you know, they're gonna string 4 and, you know, hit 1 bomb, and that's just everything it is. So you know, and some of those solo homers are gonna unfortunately be like 2-run homers, 3-run homers, maybe in Grand Slam. Like, unfortunately, that's gonna happen. I think that's been happening to us recently. And yeah, you got to respond with a big hit. And the Blue Jays, they've yet to find that, because I mean, we saw even last night when it was Kevin Gausman on the bump. You know, the Blue Jays, they had guys on. They kept, like, kind of, you know, forcing the issue. They kept putting people in running scoring position, and then you can't really get the big hit. For example, and another thing I want to bring up this podcast is, like, well, you know, if we're a small ball team, we get on base a lot, we get a lot of hits.
Well, we need to start incorporating the stolen base. But even that, you saw a small example of that last night with George Springer stealing second, stealing third, and then no one able to come up with a hit, and we strike out twice, and then we get out of the inning. You know, like, we got to be able to find a ways to manufacture in other ways if we don't have the long.
Well, and yesterday too, I mean, 7-0, like, you know, and manufacture as much as you fucking want, but like, we're probably like, without getting it's very hard to get 8 runs without a home run. In a game, like that's just the way of it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, but you know, that puts even more pressure on Kevin Gausman. Like, you know, this is supposed to be a big pitching matchup with Kevin Gausman, and then you had Hunter Brown on the mound.
That's the thing. Kevin blinked and Hunter Brown didn't, and that's all it took. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, this is a concern. I think that it's something that we kind of knew was going to be an issue walking into this season, and now that we're here, it's like, okay, like, our fears are kind of being realized right now.
Yeah.
I think ultimately this is going to mean that, yes, you're going to need to see those starting pitchers deliver. You're going to need to see the bullpen. Like, John Schneider is going to be under a microscope with his bullpen decisions, because any one mistake, you know, it's like, boom, game over. And we got to weather that storm until hopefully Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Anthony Santander are hitting some bombs, because let's face it, I mean, what is it, 3 home runs between the two of them? We're 23 games in.
That's saying 23 games in.
And we have 3 home runs between our 2 guys that are supposed to be like the home run guys.
Right.
A little bit of, you know, a knock needs to be shown to them and be like, hey boys, like, we got to pick this shit up.
Yeah, and again, like, we're in a deep hole right now, you know, being second worst in all of baseball. But again, we're honestly kind of lucky. Maybe it's shitty for me to say that. We're kind of lucky that we're still above 500 looking at that statistic right there.
That's the thing,
that's a major statistic in the game of baseball nowadays.
Yes, and again, there is still good things that this team is doing right now. You just got to see a bit more from Guerrero and Santander, and the pitchers have to know that, you know what, the long ball could cost them the entire game if they give up 1 or 2.
Yeah, exactly, right? We got to get higher, and we got to be in a positive run scoring differential if you want to be a playoff team.
Kind of obvious, but yes.
Yeah. But guys, let us know in the comments down below. Are you concerned as much as we are about the Toronto Blue Jays and their lack of home runs and the amount that they're giving up? Let your thoughts be known in the comments down below.
Yeah, please make sure to hit that like, smash the subscribe button, folks. $4 a month, become a YouTube member. Shout out and thank you to all of our current YouTube members. You guys are awesome.
Guys, thank you so much for watching.
And as always,
go Jays, go!